So we have this, if you like, if you want to sort of have a visual map of what's going on inside us, you can imagine a sort of vast space that's filled with all sorts of things, most of which is quite dark. But in one corner of this space, there's a light, and that light shines in that darkness, but it only shines so far. There's a limit to it. It's like a little sphere of light in a much larger landscape of darkness. And, as that light moves around, it illuminates different things. You might see a bookcase, or you might see, a TV or a table, or you might see a picture on the wall. And these things, come into the light, and then as the light moves on, they go out of the light. And so there is this, if you imagine this light is moving, this light is constantly illuminating something, and then that same object or image vanishes back into the gloom once more. And it's quite a good, I think it's quite a good analogy for that sort of flow of thoughts and images and memories and ideas and so forth that flow in and out of what we call our conscious awareness, and that we can attend to as well. And so when we practice meditation, what we're doing actually is we're actually stilling that light. But at the same time, the light itself begins to grow. That sort of sphere of light begins to expand. And we begin to take more in. And usually, we have some kind of progression in practice. And if you're familiar with the Buddha's sutra or scripture called the Foundations of Mindfulness, the Satipatthana Sutta, you'll know that there are 4 foundations that he advises that we practice using. And the first one is the body. So, very often the first meditation that we do is to do with the body, and usually this is with the breath obviously being something that is always with us, that's something that's always moving, and something that's very physical as well. And what this does, of course, is it allows our attention, allows our attending to the breath. It allows the thinking center to relax a little bit more, and become a bit more quiescent. And in that way, awareness begins to enter into, the physical sensations of the body. And that in itself can feel strange, because most of the time, we're not aware of the sensations of the body. Even as you're listening to this talk, if I say to you, right, just become aware of the sensations in your feet, for example. Well, if you're sitting down and your feet are on the floor, you'll be able to feel the pressure of your feet on the floor. And your feet may have been on the floor for the past 10 minutes or so. But the thing is, you've only just become aware of that sensation of pressure when I mentioned it, because my words drew your attention to that. And probably by now, as I've carried on talking, that sensation has disappeared out of consciousness, although it may have just come back in because I've, re-reminded you of it. But anyway, you sort of get the idea. These sensations are coming in, and if the heart, or the focus of the heart, or the focus of attention, that to which we are attending to, if we begin to attend to it, a little bit more devotedly, then yes, it begins to deepen the experience of it. It's not just a physical sensation. There's all sorts of other little inflections and nuances to that sensation that can appear. And this is something that we experience in longer sittings when we're on retreat, and perhaps we're experiencing pain, for example, because whether you're sitting on a chair or with your legs crossed in the half lotus position on a cushion, for example, if you sit for long periods of time, naturally your muscles and your joints begin to get sore, and the idea is that we sit with that pain. We don't just immediately, uncross our legs or get up and walk about. We have to stay still during the periods of meditation. And there's a purpose behind this. This is because we're getting to know the pain. We're getting to be able to sit with the pain and discover things about the pain. First of all, that the pain is changing. It's not always the same. And on top of that, there will be an emotional reaction as well that doesn't actually belong to the pain, but that arises as a consequence of it. So as well as the pain, there will be, a feeling of unpleasantness, and then there'll be the thought that I don't like this unpleasantness, and how long, and then speculation and judgment, how long will it be before that idiot with the bell rings it so that I can move my damn legs, all that sort of thing as well. And all this sort of has to be gotten used to. We're learning to contain this so that the reactions of the heart don't get carried away. And that's all, this is all part of the cultivation of inner strength, which obviously is a very useful virtue to have in life. So when we sit with in meditation, initially, there, as I say, it's this. There is this process of becoming more conscious. And the other thing that has to be said, and this is now where perhaps we do need to be a little bit, more aware, is that because consciousness widens, it's not just widening, as I say, in the physical side. And as I said, often enough, we certainly initially become aware of the sort of physical sensations that are coming in through the physical senses. And that is, there's a heightened awareness of sounds, for example. So, it's can be quite nice if you're sort of meditating with the window open and you can hear, the birds singing, or the breeze in the trees, or maybe the rain on the window pane, something like that. I mean, these are very commonly very pleasant sounds, and they could be quite blissful. But then, if we're sitting with a group of people and the person next to me, has a stuffy nose and is breathing labouredly and rather loudly, that can become really annoying. Or if I can hear a dog barking, 2 doors away, and it goes on and on and on, and that then begins to become annoying, and I become irritated by that. So again, we have the physical sounds, we have the judgments that I make onto those things, and then my reaction subsequently as a consequence of my judgments that I place on the sensations. And so all these things we sort of have to work through, but as well as these things, it also has to be said, as I said, there is an inner landscape as well. And as we are opening up, as we're becoming more conscious, then of course things that are hovering near the threshold of consciousness, but just in the unconscious, can also become visible. And what are some of these things? Well, some of these things are things that have